The announcement came with all the excitement that one might expect from a prestigious institution like Barron Trump School. Nestled in the heart of a leafy, exclusive neighborhood, the school prided itself on fostering leadership and community engagement. This year's highlight was the annual charity gala, a grand evening dedicated to raising funds for underprivileged students in the city. Flyers were pinned on bulletin boards, invitations were emailed to parents, and the buzz rippled through the campus like wildfire. The event promised to be a dazzling affair with a live auction, student performances, and speeches by select representatives of the student body. Each year, only a handful of students were chosen to take center stage, a privilege that spoke volumes about their character and contributions to the school community. This year, Barron Trump was one of those students. The announcement of his role came during an assembly where the headmaster stood at the podium, outlining the significance of the event. This year, one of our representatives will be Barron Trump, the headmaster declared, his voice ringing with pride. He has shown exemplary leadership in organizing community outreach programs and has been a consistent role model for his peers. Barron, seated in the front row, accepted the applause with a polite nod, his composed demeanor masking the flicker of surprise he felt. Leadership wasn't something he sought out for recognition. It was simply how he had been raised. His parents, especially his mother Melania, had instilled in him the importance of responsibility and kindness. As he walked back to class, he texted Melania the news. She responded almost immediately, "I'm so proud of you, Barron. I wouldn't miss it for the world." Melania Trump had always been a hands-on parent, quietly attending Barron's school events whenever possible. Though her public profile often made these outings challenging, she believed strongly in being present for her son. The gala, in particular, seemed like an event where her presence could not only support Barron, but also shine a light on the school's admirable cause. She began planning her attendance immediately, coordinating with her schedule and ensuring everything was in place for the big night. Barron, meanwhile, immersed himself in preparations. His speech, which centered on the importance of community and lifting others, was coming together, and his teachers praised his dedication. Unbeknownst to him or his mother, however, a storm was brewing behind the scenes. Not everyone was comfortable with Melania's presence at the event. Decisions were being made in secret meetings, decisions that would soon cast a shadow over the Trump family's anticipation. A week before the gala, a letter arrived at the Trump household, addressed formally to Mrs. Melania Trump. It came in an envelope bearing the school's emblem, its professional appearance belying the bombshell it contained. Melania opened it in the quiet of the morning, the sunlight streaming through the kitchen window. As she read the letter, her usually serene expression tightened. The words felt almost surreal. To ensure the focus remains on the event's mission and purpose, we respectfully ask that you refrain from attending the charity gala. While we value your support, your presence may inadvertently shift attention away from the students and their efforts. The reasoning was couched in polite language, but the message was clear. Melania Trump, the former First Lady, was not welcome at her son's event. She placed the letter on the table and folded her hands, taking a deep breath. It wasn't anger she felt at that moment, but confusion. She had always made it a point to maintain a low profile during Barron school activities, ensuring the attention stayed where it belonged. When Barron came down for breakfast, she hesitated before telling him. "Barron," she began, her voice calm but measured, "the school has asked me not to attend the gala." His fork paused midair. "What? Why?" Melania passed him the letter. He read it quickly, his face darkening with disbelief. "This makes no sense," he said, frustration creeping into his tone. "You're my mom. You've always supported me. How could they do this?" She reached across the table and placed a hand on his. "Barron, I don't want you to be upset. The event is about helping others, and that should remain the focus. But it's not fair," he argued. "You've never caused a distraction before. This is just wrong." Melania gave him a small, reassuring smile. "Life isn't always fair, my love. What matters is how we respond." The news spread quickly among the school's tight-knit parent community. Whispers of the ban rippled through conversations, some parents shocked, others speculating about the school's motives. While Melania maintained her poise, The controversy gnawed at her privately. She didn't want this to overshadow Barron's moment. But the decision struck a nerve. It wasn't just about her. It felt like an affront to the values of fairness and inclusion she had always championed. For Barron, the letter became a quiet source of frustration. He poured his emotions into perfecting his speech, determined to make the event a success, even if his mother wouldn't be there to see it. But both he and Melania knew this was far from over. Behind their calm exteriors, a storm of questions was brewing, questions that would soon demand answers. The school administration thought their decision would remain contained within the walls of their elite institution, but they underestimated the power of whispers in an interconnected world. It began with a parent at the school, a casual mention during a brunch outing, who expressed disbelief over the news. Within hours, the story made its way to the local press. By the next morning, it was splashed across major headlines. Melania Trump banned from son's school gala. Is Barron Trump's school bowing to political pressure, exclusion, or fair policy? The Trump family faces controversy. The headlines ran the gamut from sympathetic to inflammatory. News channels picked up the story, filling morning broadcasts with heated debates. On one side, commentators argued that the school was well within its rights to prevent undue attention from overshadowing the event. On the other, critics slammed the administration for what they called a discriminatory move against the former First Lady. Social media, predictably, erupted. On platforms like Twitter and Instagram, hashtags like #LetMelaniaAttend and #FairnessForBarron trended within hours. Influencers chimed in with their opinions, some praising Melania for her grace under fire, while others questioned the motives of the school. Imagine being told you can't attend your child's big event because you're too well-known, one viral tweet read. This isn't about neutrality, it's about bias. Not all voices were supportive, however. Some users defended the school's decision, labeling Melania's potential presence as a distraction that could detract from the event's goals. This is a school fundraiser, not a political rally, one comment read. Amid the firestorm, Barron's name was dragged into the conversation, though he had stayed silent. Tabloids speculated about his reaction, portraying him as everything from distraught to defiant. Melania, ever composed, issued no statement. Her silence only fueled further speculation, with some praising her restraint and others accusing her of aloofness. Inside the school, the atmosphere grew tense. Teachers and students alike whispered in hushed tones, unsure of how to navigate the unexpected spotlight. Parents began questioning the administration, with some drafting emails demanding clarification. The school board convened an emergency meeting to address the fallout, but their attempts to justify the decision only deepened the divide. Leaked snippets from the meeting revealed conflicting opinions among board members, exposing the internal conflict that had led to the decision. Through it all, Melania maintained her dignity, refusing to let the controversy consume her. She focused instead on supporting Barron from the sidelines, knowing that his moment in the spotlight should not be overshadowed by the storm brewing outside. But she also understood that this wasn't just about her. It was about a principle, one that couldn't be ignored forever. Barron Trump sat at his desk, the dim glow of his laptop illuminating his face. The media storm raging around his mother's ban wasn't just noise to him. It was personal. For the past 2 days, his phone had buzzed relentlessly with messages from classmates, questions from friends, and even unsolicited comments from strangers on social media. The weight of the controversy pressed heavily on his shoulders, but Barron was determined not to let it consume him. If there was one thing he had learned from his mother, it was resilience. Melania had always taught him to rise above chaos with grace and focus on what truly mattered. So, instead of dwelling on the injustice of the situation, Barron channeled his frustration into preparing for the gala. If his mother couldn't be there to witness his speech, he would make sure it was a moment worth remembering. In the evenings, Barron and Melania would sit together in the quiet comfort of their living room, discussing the speech he was writing. "What do you want people to take away from it?" Melania asked one night, her voice calm and encouraging. Barron paused, thinking carefully. "I want them to understand that we all have a responsibility to help each other," he said. "It's not about where we come from or what we believe. It's about what we can do together. Melania smiled softly. Then speak from your heart. If you focus on what you believe, the rest will follow. Their conversations became a source of strength for Barron. He began practicing his delivery in front of Melania, who offered gentle feedback and encouragement. The bond between mother and son, already strong, deepened further as they worked through the challenge together. At school, Barron carried himself with quiet determination. Though whispers followed him in the hallways and some classmates asked probing questions, he remained focused. "I'm here to represent my class," he told one curious friend. "That's what I'm going to do." Behind the scenes, Barron brainstormed ways to support his mother without adding fuel to the controversy. He considered addressing the situation in his speech, but decided against it. The event, he realized, wasn't the right place to air grievances. Instead, he poured his energy into crafting a message of unity, one that would honor his mother's values while keeping the focus on the cause. As the gala drew closer, Barron's resolve grew stronger. He knew he couldn't control the media or the school's decision, but he could control how he responded. His speech, he decided, would be a testament to everything his mother had taught him: grace under pressure, the power of compassion, and the importance of standing firm in the face of adversity. In the Trump household, the storm outside felt distant. For Barron and Melania, the focus remained on the event and its purpose. Together, they turned a moment of disappointment into an opportunity for growth, proving that even in the face of injustice, dignity and determination could shine through. The decision to ban Melania Trump from the school gala hadn't been made in haste. It was the result of a tense and divisive school board meeting, one that began with polite discussion but quickly devolved into heated debate. The meeting, held in the school's elegant conference room, featured a long mahogany table surrounded by a dozen board members, each with their own agenda and concerns. The headmaster, a dignified man in his late 50s, opened the meeting with a firm but cautious tone. "As you all know," he began, "the upcoming gala is one of our most important events of the year. It's a time for our students and their families to come together for a worthy cause. However, we've received feedback from several parents about potential distractions." One of the board members, a well-known real estate developer and parent, immediately jumped in. "With all due respect, having Melania Trump attend will turn this event into a media circus," he said, his voice tinged with irritation. "The focus will shift from the students to her, and that's not what we want." Another board member, a lawyer, nodded in agreement. "He's right. The moment she walks in, cameras will follow, and the event's purpose will be overshadowed. The last thing we need is a political spectacle." But not everyone shared this sentiment. A soft-spoken woman at the far end of the table, a longtime board member and former teacher, raised her hand. "I understand the concern," she began, her voice measured, "but Melania has attended school events before without causing disruption. She's always been gracious and respectful of the school's focus. Why should this be any different?" Her words sparked a ripple of dissent. Several board members shifted uncomfortably in their seats, their expressions betraying unease. But the influential voices in the room, those who held sway over decisions, pressed harder. "We can't ignore the optics," another member chimed in. "There are parents who feel strongly about keeping politics out of the event, and her presence could be seen as divisive." The debate dragged on, tensions mounting as the room split into two camps: those who believed banning Melania was the safest course of action, and those who felt the decision was unfair and unnecessary. Some members, feeling caught in the middle, chose to remain silent, their discomfort etched across their faces. In the end, the majority voted in favor of asking Melania not to attend, citing concerns about maintaining neutrality as their official reasoning. The dissenters, though deeply troubled, were too intimidated to voice their objections publicly. As the meeting adjourned, the room emptied, leaving behind an air of regret and unresolved tension. In the quiet moments that followed, one board member lingered, staring out the window at the school grounds. She couldn't shake the feeling that the decision wasn't about neutrality at all. It was about fear. Fear of backlash, fear of judgment, and fear of standing up for what was right. But by then, it was too late. The decision to ban Melania Trump from the gala might have satisfied a few influential voices within the school, but it ignited a firestorm outside its gates. As news of the ban spread, supporters of Melania and Barron rallied online, determined to make their voices heard. Social media became the battleground, with hashtags like hashtag #LetMelaniaAttend and hashtag #FairnessForBarron trending across platforms. Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook were flooded with posts, ranging from heartfelt messages to sharp critiques of the school's decision. Excluding a mother from her child's event for being too well-known? That's not fairness. That's discrimination, one viral tweet read. Influential voices joined the fray. Prominent media personalities and public figures expressed their support for Melania, lauding her history of grace and her dedication to her son. Melania Trump is a mother first, one commentator said during a popular news segment. This decision speaks more about the school's insecurities than her character. The movement wasn't limited to public figures. Parents from the school began to question the motives behind the decision. A group of them, deeply troubled by what they saw as an unjust action, drafted a petition urging the administration to reconsider. The petition gained traction quickly, with dozens of signatures pouring in within hours. At the same time, discussions erupted in parent forums and WhatsApp groups. Some parents defended the school's position, arguing that the decision was made in the best interest of the event. But many others pushed back, calling the ban unfair and suggesting that it reflected poorly on the school's values. I've always admired this school for its emphasis on inclusion and respect, one parent wrote in a widely circulated message. But this decision feels like the opposite of that. What kind of example are we setting for our children? The momentum of the movement grew rapidly. Volunteers organized online campaigns, creating graphics and videos that highlighted Melania's history of supporting charitable causes and maintaining a low profile at school events. Her past actions spoke louder than words, and supporters used them to build a compelling case for her inclusion. By the end of the week, the controversy had reached a boiling point. News outlets continued to cover the story, with some framing it as a broader conversation about respect, fairness, and the role of public figures in private settings. The school administration, once confident in their decision, found themselves in a precarious position. Emails from concerned parents flooded their inboxes, and calls from reporters became a daily occurrence. Within the walls of the school, staff and students alike were abuzz with the unfolding drama. The message was clear. The community wasn't willing to let this decision go unanswered. The voices calling for justice were growing louder, and the administration knew they would have to respond. Meanwhile, Barron and Melania observed the groundswell of support with quiet gratitude. For Melania, it was a reminder of the power of kindness and the importance of standing firm in the face of adversity. For Barron, it was proof that even in moments of unfairness, there were people willing to stand up for what was right. The tide was turning, and it was only a matter of time before justice had its say. The school board members thought their closed-door deliberations would remain private, their emails and discussions locked away from the public eye. But one member, troubled by the mounting controversy and the underlying motivations of the decision, decided to act. This anonymous insider couldn't reconcile the school's mission of fostering inclusion and fairness with the actions they had taken against Melania Trump. Late one evening, an encrypted email landed in the inbox of a prominent journalist known for covering education and social justice issues. The subject line read, "The truth about Melania Trump's ban from the gala." Attached were a series of internal emails exchanged between board members in the weeks leading up to the decision. The journalist, intrigued by the tip, began to read. The emails revealed a far messier reality than the school's official statement suggested. While some board members had genuinely feared media attention would detract from the event, others had more politically charged motivations. One email read, "We can't afford to let this become a spectacle. Parents have voiced concerns about her presence being seen as an endorsement of her politics." Another member responded, "This isn't about the gala anymore. It's about protecting the school's reputation. Some parents feel strongly, and we have to tread carefully." Yet, not all voices in the chain agreed. Are we really excluding a parent because of who they are? This sets a dangerous precedent. One dissenting email read, We're supposed to be teaching our students fairness and respect, not bending to pressure. The journalist published the story the next morning under the headline, "Leaked emails expose political bias behind Melania Trump's gala ban." The piece laid bare the internal debates, highlighting the divisions within the board and the apparent influence of a few powerful voices. The public response was immediate and overwhelming. Social media exploded with renewed outrage, with hashtags like #FairnessForBarron and #SchoolIntegrity surging back into the spotlight. Parents at the school, already uneasy, now felt betrayed. A flood of letters and emails demanding transparency and accountability overwhelmed the administration. For the board, the pressure became unbearable. Members who had initially supported the ban found themselves cornered, forced to confront the ramifications of their decision. The anonymous leak not only exposed their motives but also amplified calls for them to reverse their stance. The school, once known for its values of inclusivity and fairness, now faced a public relations disaster. Behind closed doors, the headmaster and board convened emergency meetings, scrambling to address the fallout. They knew that the truth was out, and their only path forward was to issue a response that could begin to repair the damage. But before they could act, Melania Trump stepped forward, proving once again why she commanded respect even in moments of adversity. As the media frenzy reached a fever pitch, all eyes turned to Melania Trump. Public figures weighed in, activists voiced their opinions, and parents debated among themselves. But Melania remained silent. Her absence from the conversation was deliberate, a reflection of her belief in the importance of composure and purpose over reaction. Finally, after days of speculation, Melania released a statement. Delivered through her spokesperson and shared widely on social media, it was calm, measured, and filled with the grace that had long defined her public presence. "I am disappointed by the decision to exclude me from the gala, but I respect the school's authority to make policies as they see fit. My focus remains on supporting my son and the school's cause, which is to uplift underprivileged students and provide opportunities for them to succeed. This event is about the children, and I hope that it achieves its goals without distraction. We should remember that unity and understanding are what ultimately make us stronger." The statement landed like a bomb in a chaotic storm. It was neither defensive nor accusatory, but instead focused on the greater good. Melania's emphasis on the children and the importance of the event's mission struck a chord with many. Her refusal to escalate the situation into a personal vendetta won her widespread admiration. Supporters praised her grace under fire, with social media posts lauding her maturity and ability to rise above the fray. Even some of her critics acknowledged the dignity of her response. "Melania Trump is showing what it means to lead with class," one prominent commentator tweeted. Parents at the school, including some who had initially supported the ban, began reconsidering their stance. "Her statement made me realize this isn't about politics. It's about doing what's right," one parent admitted in a private group chat. Meanwhile, Barron quietly admired his mother's handling of the situation. Their conversations at home were filled with reflections on resilience and the importance of focusing on what truly matters. Melania encouraged him to stay centered on his role in the gala, reminding him that his speech could inspire others regardless of her absence. The school board, however, couldn't escape the storm of accountability now bearing down on them. The contrast between their decisions and Melania's response was stark, and public pressure continued to mount. In the end, Melania's ability to transform a divisive situation into a moment of unity and reflection became a turning point. It wasn't just about the gala anymore. It was about standing firm in the face of adversity and showing the world the power of dignity and grace. Justice, it seemed, was no longer a question of if, but when. The day of the highly anticipated gala arrived, and the school grounds were abuzz with activity. Decorations adorned the main hall. Tables were set with pristine white linens, and a palpable sense of excitement filled the air. Yet beneath the surface, a tension lingered, one that had less to do with the gala's purpose and more with the controversy that had overshadowed it. After days of mounting pressure, the school administration finally relented. Early that morning, a formal email was sent to Melania Trump, inviting her to attend the event as a valued member of the school community. The message was polite, almost apologetic, but it came too late. Melania read the email at her breakfast table, her expression calm. She had already made her decision. Turning to Barron, who was rehearsing his speech nearby, she said, "They've invited me to come." Barron looked up, his brow furrowed. "So, you'll be there?" She smiled softly. "No, Barron. This is your moment. I don't want my presence to take away from what you've worked so hard for." "But Mom, this whole situation..." Melania placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "You're going to stand up there and show them what we stand for. This event isn't about me. It's about the cause and about you. I'll be cheering for you from here." Her decision, while disappointing to Barron, made sense. Melania had always believed in letting actions speak louder than words. By staying home, she allowed the focus to remain on the gala's mission while giving Barron the space to shine. That evening, the hall filled with parents, students, and dignitaries. Barron, dressed in a sharp suit, stood backstage, clutching his speech. Though composed, he felt the weight of everything leading up to this moment. As the headmaster introduced him, the applause was thunderous, but Barron's mind was elsewhere, on his mother's quiet encouragement and the lessons she had imparted. Stepping up to the podium, Barron adjusted the microphone and looked out at the crowd. The lights were bright, the room silent. He began his speech, his voice steady yet filled with emotion. "Inclusion, fairness, and community. These are values my family has always believed in," he said, pausing to let the words sink in. "Over the past few weeks, I've learned that standing up for these values isn't always easy. But when we focus on what unites us, rather than what divides us, we create something stronger, something lasting." His words struck a chord. Without directly addressing the controversy, Barron spoke to its heart. He emphasized the importance of kindness and resilience, of listening to one another even when it's difficult. "This gala is about making a difference for those who need it most. Let's keep that purpose at the center of everything we do." The room erupted in applause, some attendees rising to their feet. Barron's poise and sincerity had turned what could have been a divisive moment into one of inspiration. Even the headmaster, seated nearby, looked visibly moved. Back home, Melania watched a live stream of the event, pride welling up in her chest. Barron had done exactly what she had hoped. He had risen above the noise, carrying himself with dignity and purpose. The gala was a resounding success. By the end of the evening, the school announced that it had raised record-breaking funds for its program supporting underprivileged students. The controversy surrounding Melania's exclusion, rather than detracting from the event, had inadvertently drawn more attention and support to the cause. Donations poured in not just from attendees, but from people around the country who had followed the story online. As the dust settled, the school board faced the reality of their misstep. The leaked emails, public backlash, and Barron's powerful speech had painted a clear picture of their error in judgment. A week after the gala, the board issued a formal apology to Melania Trump. The letter, shared publicly, read, "We deeply regret the decision to ask Mrs. Trump not to attend the gala. It was a mistake that did not reflect the values of fairness and inclusion that our school strives to uphold. We apologize to Mrs. Trump and her family, and we are committed to ensuring such a situation does not occur again." The apology was widely covered by the media and largely well-received. For Melania, it wasn't about vindication. It was about moving forward. She accepted the apology graciously, issuing a brief statement of her own. "I appreciate the school's acknowledgement of their mistake. My focus remains on supporting my son and the school's mission of helping those in need." The broader community, however, was left reflecting on the lessons from the controversy. The incident had sparked important conversations about judgment, bias, and the power of standing up for what is right. For many, Melania's grace and Barron's maturity became a model for handling adversity with dignity. At home, Barron and Melania sat together one evening, reflecting on the whirlwind of events. "You handled everything so well," Barron said, looking at his mother. "I don't know how you stay so calm." Melania smiled. "It's not always easy. But when you focus on what truly matters, the noise around you fades." "I'm proud of you, Barron. You showed strength and character when it counted most." Barron nodded, his mother's words resonating deeply. "I think we both did." The story ended not just with a resolution, but with a commitment. For Melania and Barron, the experience had reinforced their shared values of kindness, resilience, and fairness. They vowed to continue championing these principles, knowing that even in the face of challenges, staying true to what matters most always leaves a lasting impact. And for the broader community, the Trump's grace under pressure served as a reminder. Even the most difficult moments can lead to growth, understanding, and a brighter path forward. Want to hear more of this? Then click on the video on the right-hand side, which is even crazier.